Okay, so I've got a bit of an issue. This work bay, super dark. The only source of light, artificial light that we have in here is this one shop light, and even that, it's only in the middle, which is great if you're working on that car and you like pull this way. But long-term project, the Mustang has no light, which isn't a big deal because I don't really plan on being out here at night. But when it gets to about like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, when the sun starts going down, it's pretty dark, and it'd be nice to have some light. So we're gonna solve that with these little guys. These are just some cheap magnetic LED lights that we got on Amazon. Got a bunch of them. They get pretty bright, but my plan is to put them on all of these things, our conduit piping. So my plan, let's get out of the light here. My plan is this already sticks to it pretty well, but it'll sit, it's currently sitting perpendicular to the pole, so the light is focused sideways, even though our project is down here. So I'm going to use the power of 3D printing to try to make a magnetic mount for this that angles it down a bit. Did some math, came out to about 35 degrees. I'll show how I got to that in a minute. But yeah, that's the plan. I want to have about 6 of them, so 3 on each side. I think that'll be plenty of light for lighting up this bay. Alright, so here's a quick rundown of the measurements that I took. So here's the pole. I think they're about 8 feet tall, but I'm not 8 feet tall, so my reach is about, I believe it came out to about 81 inches when I stand up and try to reach up. So that's 81 inches high. The distance between the two poles came out to, I think it was 128 inches. So divide 128 by 2, you get 64. The angle we're looking for is the angle up here with the hypotenuse and the adjacent. And so we're taking the inverse tangent of the opposite, which is 128 divided by 2, so 64, over the adjacent, which was 81. And the inverse tangent of that fraction gives us about a 35-degree angle. So our light is going to sit about 35 degrees pointing downwards. Alright, so we took all the measurements, and here's how the math lays out. So we took the measurement from pole to pole was 128 inches wide. The height as to where I was going to mount the light was about 81 inches. So we got length over 2, so this will give us the measurement from the pole to the middle of the work bay. That comes out to 64 inches. So now we go into trig. The trig is opposite over adjacent, so tangent of x equals 64 over 81. And then going through all this math, we get 38 degrees is the angle that we need to shoot for. So we took our measurements. We're in Fusion 360 now. I'm gonna try. I got an idea on how I kind of want this little magnetic bracket thing to work out. So I'm just gonna click away and see what we come up with. All right, cool. So this is kind of what we came up with. So we got that 38-degree angle here. Let me show you that on the sketch. So we got that 38-degree angle here. This will position our magnetic light pointing downwards 38 degrees. That's exactly what we want. For here, I added 4 holes to press in some neodymium magnets. So that way we have 4 points of contact on the conduit piping. So hopefully this doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't fall off the pipe out of nowhere. 4 magnets should be plenty strong. If we need more, we'll add more. Speaking of, forgot to add the hole here, but I'll throw that in real quick before we go to print. This is probably going to print upside down, just because it has more surface area on top and I don't need to use supports for it. That should work fine. I don't think I'm going to need supports for these little holes, but we'll find out. So Next steps, add that little hole here, run it through Cura, slice it, and then we'll print it out. Before we go to Cura and slice this thing, I made a few changes. I realized I had way more material than I needed for the dimensions of what we were making. So here's the final product. I cut it down about like another inch shorter. So we're not using so much material and we still have all the dimensions we need. Cool, let's go to Cura. Now we're in Cura. Let's bring in our 3D model from Fusion. Here it is. It's not going to print very well this way, so let's flip it over onto that flat side. There we go. That way we don't need any supports. The holes we made for the magnets shouldn't need any supports. Let's take a quick peek at how it's going to print. It'll take 3 hours. I'm printing in PETG, so the print speed is much slower than PLA, making it PETG just because it's going to see a lot of outdoor use. But yeah, that looks good. Let's try to print it. Cool, so here's the prototype that you saw me print out in the time lapse. A couple issues with this off the bat. First of all, the magnet holes are a little too small, so I'm not able to press in the magnets that I had. Second of all, I realized I don't need all this extra material right here from behind the magnets. So I'm able to get rid of that, save some material, save some time. So here's that new one. Made the holes bigger, able to press in and glue in the magnets, as well as take off the material in the back. So I figured that was good and made 5 more of them. One thing to note that was weird with these lights here is that the orientation of the magnet on the back, despite them all being the same magnet, the orientation on the back is a little different. So what I mean by that is that this one, for example, the magnet lines up and like the polarities are good for a strong connection here in the middle, whereas this light, the same exact light, is reverse polarity, so it's grabbing onto the little ring on the outside of the magnet, which is a bit of a problem just because I based the orientation of the magnet off of the same light for all 6 of these. So about probably half of my lights are one polarity and the other half are another, but it's not too big of a deal. It's fine for now at least, like they don't fall off on their own, but still something to note. So let's go see how they look outside. Alright, cool. So here's all the lights set up and mounted. The lights look pretty good. I'm already seeing a design change I could have made. I realized that I did the math so that the lights will meet in the middle, whereas I should have had them meet a little bit above the ground in the middle. Could have done that by doing the math for the angle to about 2/3 or so across the way from the width of the carport, so that way they cross and meet in the middle, somewhere here probably. That'd have been nice. Another thing I'm noticing is that these lights kind of suck, so I'm not going to be able to recommend them. I've been out here for like 20 minutes and they're already dimming. I do have them on their brightest setting, so that's probably my fault. But either way, I don't plan on being out here for very long when I have these lights on, mainly to just clean up for the day. But yeah, that's a wrap on this project for now. This is also a wrap on the video. If you liked the video, let me know, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, leave a comment down below, let me know what I could have done better. And subscribe for more content on little projects such as these, and pretty soon I'm going to be releasing some cool content on the cars. 68 Mustang is getting a new engine, so that's coming up soon. See you in the next one.